This is how I want Rick to die. This is how I'm going to do it. Do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear it? I was going to say it anyway, so...
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. You've probably seen the news by now. Everybody's freaking out because Andrew Lincoln has formally announced that he's going to be leaving The Walking Dead after season 9. They didn't say they're going to be killing him off or anything like that. Obviously, I had that funny clip about him saying how he wants Rick to die. I'll play the rest of that later in the video here because it's actually pretty funny. But if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Obviously, this is a really huge deal, so people are just trying to make sense of it, like what's going to happen to The Walking Dead without Rick Grimes. What most of the news outlets are reporting is that they've offered Norman Reedus a substantial pay upgrade to take over Andrew Lincoln's lead role in the show. So Daryl's already a main character, but he's been kind of background lately. He would effectively become the new focal point of the show. So however you feel about Daryl, it sounds like season 10 of The Walking Dead will be the Daryl season. If you felt like there hasn't been a season that's focused on him before. He's had some really big arcs, but I think we're all just wondering how long can they go without their biggest characters. Spoiler warning for what's happened on The Walking Dead recently. If you jumped off the show and you're planning on catching up later, there will be spoilers in here for the most recent season. So this past season, the big death was Carl. They killed him off, which is a huge deal because in the comics, he's arguably the future of the story of the survivors group. He's meant to take over when Rick Grimes eventually dies. So we don't need to get into comic book spoilers, but Robert Kirkman has said in the past that he plans to end the Walking Dead comic book when Rick Grimes eventually dies. Like, the series is meant to follow his life over his 300-issue plus run. So it's not like it's going to go for forever. You could tell that AMC makes so much money on the Walking Dead main show that they would love to keep it on the air for forever if they could. So there have been a couple recent shows on other big networks that have tried to keep themselves alive after their original main cast have left. It hasn't gone well. Like Once Upon a Time is a good example where like all the main actors left the show. They tried to do another season with some of the B characters and it completely fell flat. So they canceled the show after that extra season, which is why, I definitely think that they're going to go for season 10 because they'll go through season 9. You'll get Rick Grimes. We'll find out what ends up happening to him. Andrew Lincoln leaves the show. You still have Michonne, you still have Jesus, you still have some of the Hilltop people. There are pretty big characters that are around. Maggie, for instance, is another example of a character that's probably going to leave soon, though. Lauren Cohan is supposed to only be coming back for a handful of episodes during season 9, like 6, maybe a little bit more than that. Assuming that there's 16 episodes total, that's not a lot of screen time compared to what you would see from her in a normal season. But what they'll probably do is they'll just load up on her scenes when she does come into episodes. There's still a couple really big arcs that they haven't done yet that I expect them to do because they're so popular. You have the Whisperers, Whisperer War. You have the Commonwealth as a big group of people that they could introduce, which they're doing right now in the comics, even though the comics are way further ahead in the timeline than what's going on in the show right now. Just to put the story and the characters into context, there are a couple big turns that happen down the road. The Walking Dead, like I said, intended to be like a 300-plus issue comic book in Robert Kirkman's eyes. They're only at about issue 180, so they're a long ways away from the inevitable end of the comic book series. So think about all the years that Rick Grimes has left to live in the comics. Kill him off on the TV show, and what's that going to do to ratings? Because, Daryl is a hugely popular character. Maggie's pretty popular, but she's not Daryl popular, and she might not even come back for season 10 because Lauren Cohan signed to another TV show. So it's kind of like a jumping back and forth situation for Walking Dead season 9. Already, it's a bit of a scheduling problem for her. If you didn't see the season 8 finale video that it did, I talked a little bit about the behind-the-scenes changes structurally in the way they manage the show. Scott Gimple isn't going to be the showrunner anymore. He's transitioning to more of an oversight role for more spin-off shows that they're going to try and develop. So like they have Fear the Walking Dead. They said that there's going to be more Walking Dead spin-offs in the future that they're going to try and launch. He'll have something to do with that. Morgan has already gone on to Fear the Walking Dead. He'll probably stay there for a while, especially if the main show winds down. They might also try and sync the storylines up so that more of the main cast goes to Fear the Walking Dead after season 10, if it really does look like that's going to be one of the final seasons. But with the way the ratings are going, even though they're bleeding viewers, they're still doing way bigger numbers than your average TV show. So even with the decline in viewership, they could still keep going for a couple more years with these B characters and people like Daryl leading the show. Danai Gurira would probably stick around. I would be willing to bet, too, she becomes the main leader, even if Daryl becomes the series lead. Because Daryl, very interesting character, but he's not much of a leader. So when you really dig into it, like if they give him a big pay bump and they pay him as much as they used to pay Andrew Lincoln, that just means that he's going to have more scenes, more storylines. It's not like he's going to start ordering people around to start doing everything, because Michonne is probably one of the few people next to Carol or even Ezekiel. He just takes over leadership of the survivors too. But I still think they want to have the different encampments, but they are kind of converging on each other. So we might get back to a situation in the first couple of seasons like we had where everybody was all together at the same time, instead of having like 4 separate groups that you have to go to in different episodes. So post all your reactions in the comments about Andrew Lincoln leaving and what you think is going to happen to the show after he does. Like, how many more seasons can they get out of this? But here's the rest of that funny video with him talking about how he wants Rick Grimes to die. And this was recorded before they killed off Carl on the TV show, so he references him a couple times during this.
We're going through a desert somewhere, and I jump off the bus. I'm telling it, I'm saying it. He likes it. I said it in Madrid, and he went, don't tell anybody, because it's good. So in a very heroic act, Rick jumps off, Carl's, and he's still alive. Don't worry about Carl, him. And maybe that's the last thing I say. I jump off, and I'm like kung fu kicking, all the, earn my action figure, right? Halfway through, I get bit. Ow! Doesn't matter. Keep going, Carl. They've gone. Tracks through the desert. High shot. Beautiful. High shot. Anyway, deal with that stuff. I get, and I'm dying on my own. On my own, just waiting to die. And then I wait and I patch up, and then a day passes.
You patch up?
I patch myself up. Man. I'm a survivalist. Anyway, I patch myself up. I don't die. Final shot is, holy shit, maybe I'm the cure.
So obviously what's going to happen later this summer is they'll have a Comic-Con trailer for Season 9. Hopefully at that panel they'll address what they're going to do with the show after Season 10 if they start losing more of their main cast. But I'll have new Marvel to post tomorrow. Leave all your requests in the comments below. But click here for brand new Avengers 4, and click here for all my Walking Dead videos. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. See you guys tonight.